So students, next question is define the following. Number one, inbreeding. Number two, outbreeding. Number three, homozygosity, followed by inbreeding depression, and lastly the interferons. Matter of fact, we have to first examine what is a breed. How we make this term breed. Now, a breed is a specific group of domestic animals having homogeneous appearance, that they look alike. But remember one thing, breeds doesn't mean different species. Species is same species, but however, due to geographical isolation or some other reasons, these animals they look alike of a particular locality or a location or a place, and that is what is the phenotype. Phenotype, that they look same, though uh, the animals at different places are different breeds, but maybe of same species. So a breed is a specific group of domestic animals having homogeneous appearance, homogeneous behavior, and or other characteristics that distinguish it from other organisms of the same species. Well, we might have reached there by selective breeding. So let us say we want to compare dogs of one place with the other place. So dogs have got different, many breeds, but species is same. So it is due to homogeneous appearance, because they appear same, so we call them one breed. So here we are. Subsequently, now if you see the breeds of dogs, well, they are of different types, but they belong to same species, but they are different because of geographical isolation or many other reasons, as I've told you earlier. So these are basically different breeds. So this is how the whole term is defined. So now when breeding is uh, between animals of the same breed as I've told you, looking alike, having similar behavior. So same breed, it is called inbreeding, while crosses between different breeds are called outbreeding. So this is how inbreeding is different from outbreeding. Generally what we say, inbreeding refers to the mating of more closely related individuals within the same breed of 4 to 6 generations. So within 4 to 6 generations if breeding taking place, then we call it inbreed in general. The breeding strategy is as follows. Superior males and superior females of the same breed are identified and mated in pairs. Now the progeny obtained from such matings are evaluated, and superior males and females among them are identified for further mating. Now a superior female, for example in case of cattle, is a cow or buffalo that produces more milk per lactation. On the other hand, a superior male is a bull which gives rise to superior progeny. So this is how we define this term, uh, inbreeding and outbreeding. Then now homozygosity. So what is homozygosity? In fact, you have studied in detail in your 5th chapter. Now homozygosity is a state of possessing two identical forms of a particular gene. So this is what is homozygous. As you are aware of, their genes are always moving pairs. So in this case, this gene, two identical forms of a particular gene, one is inherited from parental genome and one from the maternal. Maternal and paternal. That is from each parent. For example, if you take example, here we find a girl who is homozygous for cystic fibrosis. It means if she is homozygous, only then she will develop this ailment, cystic fibrosis, because this is basically a recessive allele. Both the allele should be recessive. So she has received gene from both of her parents for recessive genes, and only then she can develop cystic fibrosis. So parents must be not uh, homozygous, but must be heterozygous for this condition. So let us quickly go through this heterozygous also before really taking this example. Heterozygotes are two different forms of a particular gene, one inherited from each parent, but importantly, uh, a gene, two different forms. We have already studied genes. Well, in Mendel we studied factors. If you remember, factor T was for tallness and small t was for dwarfness. So genes always move in pairs. Factors Mendel called them, we call them genes now, and now we call them alleles rather better term. So for example, if we take case of a father and a mother of a cystic fibrosis child are heterozygotes, then chances are there that the offspring would also be 50% chances are there to receive these genes and develop cystic fibrosis. Now, cystic fibrosis, students, is what is a cystic fibrosis? If you see cystic fibrosis, because we have given examples, so I explained this also. I think this is also in your course somewhere. Cystic fibrosis is an inherited disease that causes the body to produce mucus that is extremely thick and sticky. Well, as you are aware of, the mucus is thicker than normal because CF affects cells in the epithelium, the layer of cells that lines the passages in the body organs. In our body, all these layers, this layer is called epithelium, and this CF or cystic fibrosis affects the cells in the epithelium. If a person who does not have cystic fibrosis, the epithelial cells produce a thin watery mucus that acts like a lubricant and helps protect the body's tissues. But since in case someone has developed cystic fibrosis, the mucus becomes thicker. Now this thicker mucus does not move as easily as the other one without cystic fibrosis. So this thick sticky mucus clogs passages in many of the body's organs, and thus infection sets in. The two organs most affected, if we see, are one is lungs and the second is pancreas, where the thick mucus causes breathing problems, and if it takes place in pancreas, then somebody may have the digestive problems. The thicker mucus has trouble moving out of the lungs, so bacteria can remain and cause infections. So cystic fibrosis. Now this cystic fibrosis, this disease, basically the gene which is present is on chromosome number 7. Now this CF is inherited in an autosomal recessive manner. As well you are aware of, autosomal recessive manner means it is not sex linked, it is totally on chromosome number 7, as I have told you. So let us say these are the parents, R and small r here, and R and small r. So they are heterozygous because homozygosity means they should have been RR both capital or RR both small, recessive homozygosity and dominant homozygosity. So here gamete formation is of two possibilities, R and small r, R and small r. Similarly here also R and small r. So if you see this, these two R's have come together, so person will not have any cystic fibrosis, right? Because even just one gene is enough to produce what is physiologically required. So it is the absence of both the genes which is of some concern or a problem. And second option is let us say this R goes with this R, so it is again R and small r. Then this R goes with this R, again no problem with this R and small r. However, when it comes to this small r with this small r, this is a recessive condition, and this is it is autosomal recessive disease. So here, in case a male or a female, that is boy or a girl, has got this genotypic condition, only then we'll have cystic fibrosis. So even those with a single working copy are carriers. So here the single working copy, they are carriers, and otherwise they are generally normal. So CF is caused by a mutation in the gene cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator. We call it CFTR. The most common mutation delta F508. In fact, delta represents it shows mutation. So mutation F508 is a deletion of 3 nucleotides that result in a loss of amino acid phenylalanine at the 508th position on the protein. So this is the main cause, but we will not go into further these details. Now this mutation, if takes place, it can account for as many as almost 2/3 cases of cystic fibrosis. But not this is not the only reason. There are as many as 1500 other mutations are there which can cause cystic fibrosis. And as I've told you earlier, it is going to affect lungs straight away, and that is with the breathing part. And then second is the pancreas. So digestive system is also uh, affected. With this, we move to our next question.